Hello, I'm Tylah Tully, and today I'm joined by Neurizon Therapeutics Managing Director Michael Thurn to talk us through the company's latest news. Michael, you recently updated the market on your ongoing engagement with the United States FDA regarding initiatives to lift the clinical hold on your investigational new drug application for NUZ001. Can you give us an update on the latest?
Yes, Tyler, that's right. We've initiated a work plan specifically designed to address the FDA's only concern with our investigational new drug filing to support further clinical development of NUZ001. The FDA requires more robust exposure or pharmacokinetic data in rats and dogs to allow us to bridge or use the vast amount of existing data collected by Elanco for veterinary use of NUZ001 or monopentol, as it's known in veterinary circles. So this is actually a good thing. Moreover, we have taken the view that this review issue that the FDA has raised, meaning we didn't satisfactorily tick a review box per the standard regulatory guidance that govern drug development. This regulatory tick-the-box approach is even more evident when you consider that NUZ001 has an established long-term safety profile in humans. And that was demonstrated from our completed phase 1 study last year. In fact, we still have 8 patients from that phase 1 study safely taking NUZ001. These 8 patients, have now been on NUZ001 for 2.5 years.
So what activities are you planning to take to get the hold lifted?
We have initiated 2 pharmacokinetic studies in rats and dogs at a CRO in the US that specializes in these types of PK studies in rats and dogs. The studies will take approximately 4 months to complete and involve the time required not only to source the animals from a dedicated breeding colony in the US, acclimation of the animals at the study site, drug administration, and blood pools for the PK assessments over a 28-day period, analysis of the blood samples, and then finally generation of a study report. Once we have the final study report in our hands with the specific data set that the FDA requires, we'll formally respond to the FDA to lift the clinical hold, and that will take around 30 days for the FDA to reply.
And can you remind our viewers about NUZ001, how it works, what it treats, and the potential markets?
Yeah, NUZ001 belongs to a class of drugs known as mTOR inhibitors. And in damaged cells, we have shown that NUZ001 activates a natural cleaning mechanism in those cells called autophagy. We're exploiting this ability to activate autophagy to remove toxic buildup of aggregation of a protein called TDP43. And TDP43 aggregation is the pathology that is shown in up to 97% of cases of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, the major form of motor neuron disease. The global market for ALS is projected to surpass $1.2 billion by 2030, and that's driven by an increase in diagnosis, but also there's a significant unmet medical need for new treatments for ALS. Because NUZ001 has the ability to address this toxic buildup of proteins in neurons, we believe that this drug and the mechanism of action may be applicable across a wide range of different neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, and potentially multiple sclerosis. So that dramatically increases the total addressable market for NUZ001.
And I think you've touched on it a little bit throughout this interview, but just to reiterate, can you talk us through the timeline from here and what happens next?
So the timeline from here is to generate that additional PK data, pharmacokinetic data in rats and dogs, and that'll take around 4 months to complete. And then within days of receiving that final PK study report, we'll file a formal response to the FDA to lift the clinical hold, and the FDA has 30 days to respond. So all going well, the clinical hold will be lifted within 5 months from now.
Definitely exciting times ahead for the company. Thanks for joining us today, Michael.
Thanks, Tyler.